Sanjoli, can you hear me?
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Mita. So, Sanjoli, we are going to design an artificially intelligent game today, and for the same, we'll be
Sir,
using.
your voice is coming very low.
My voice is coming very low. Is it fine now, dear? Am I audible to you now properly?
Wait a second, sir.
I'm very close to my speakers at present.
Yes, sir.
Is it fine now, dear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we'll be designing a virtual game today, right? And its name is Virtual MCQs. And for the same, we'll be using CVZONE, right? CVZONE and OpenCV. So CVZONE is for hand detection and OpenCV is for accessing the device's camera, right? So the first thing we have to do is we need to import the CV2 library. Okay, so import CV2, right? I have created a file here, a Sublime text file here, and let me just save it inside this Python 38 folder. So I have a folder here with name MCQs, sorry, virtual MCQs. Okay, this is the one. So inside this, I'm saving it with virtual mcqs.py. So I'm saving it with this name, right? This much is clear to you, dear? So what you have to do, you have to create a folder first, right? With name, you can name it anything. Then you have to put a Python file inside it. Okay, and you can then open it in Sublime Text, and thereafter you can define the code which I'll be sharing with you in this session. So import CV2 is the library that we need first for this project, and then it's time for us to define the code with the help of which we can capture the videos. So I hope you remember this function's name, video capture. Right, that is what we used in previous lectures also for the projects we have done till date. So because we'll be using the default camera of the device, so that is the reason 0 needs to be defined inside this video capture. Right. Now, if you have some external camera connected to your device, so what will come in place of 0? Can you tell me that, Sanjuli? If suppose there is an external camera attached to your device, so in place of 0, what will you write?
I don't know.
Why you don't know, dear? It's very simple. See, if you are writing a computer vision program on your device and there is an inbuilt camera in your device, for accessing that, if you want to access that, if you want to use it for your project, then 0 needs to be defined inside this video capture function. However, if there is an external camera connected to your device, so in place of 0, 1 will come, right? Or if it is not accessible with 1, you can define 2 here. Is it clear to you, Sanjoli, now?
Yes, sir. Sir, can you just repeat which Python file we have to put in it?
You can create a Python file. Okay, and you can name it whatever you want to. I have named it virtual mcqs.py. You can name it whatever you want to. You just have to create a folder and then you have to put a Python file inside it. Means you have to create a new Python file.
Yes, sir. I have done that.
First, and then open that Python file on in your Sublime text. Okay, and no need to
Yes.
define anything right now. I'll be sharing all the codes, whatever I am, doing here in front of you. I'll be sharing it with you in the chat box of this meeting. So you need not to write anything. You can practice it afterwards whenever you get the time to practice. Okay. So have you understood the concept of 0 and 1?
Yes, sir.
Akka?
Yes, sir.
Now it's time for us to define the size of the window in which I would like to, see my video. So for that, see, the videos frames are going to come in this cap named variable. Okay, so for controlling the size, we can make use of set function, cap dot set, right? Now, if you want to control the width, so the parameter ID, the width ID is 3 by default. Okay, so 3 for set means that the user has defined something for width. Now I would like to have a width of 1280 pixels. So simply I have defined, I have put 1280 over here. And now for defining the height of the window, I can use the same code, but in place of 3, 4 needs to be defined. 4 will come. Okay, so 4 is for height and 3 is for width. As simple as that. Fine. Now, if I
Yes.
save the changes and run it, let's see what will happen. The code is running and you can see I'm getting an error. It says name video capture is not defined. Sanjoli, do you know why I'm getting this error here?
So please wait a second. So can you please show the error once again?
Yeah, it says name video capture is not defined. What is happening right now, Sanjoli? The interpreter is not able to locate this function named video capture. Okay, it's not able to
So I
locate.
was muted by chance. I have also said this only.
Okay, okay, no problem. I got it. So, can you tell me can you tell me the way we can help the interpreter in locating the function?
Like this side only.
Where is this function, present? Where it is? Where does it resides?
So I think so we need to make a screen so that
Yes, we are trying to do that only, dear. But here the error that we are getting is name video capture is not defined. It means that the interpreter is not able to locate it in this code. So, the interpreter is telling us that you haven't defined anything like video capture. So I'll not be able to help you running it. I'll not be able to give you the output for this function. Remember this thing, Sanjoli, that these functions, these are predefined functions, right? And they are present. Predefined functions are always present inside some or the other Python libraries. Now I have used only one library till now, which is CV2. I have defined only one library till now.
so you
Right.
have to use CVZONE also.
That is fine. That is perfectly fine. But right now, what we are doing, we are trying to define the code with which we can access the device's camera. So for that, we do not require CV zone. CV zone will come into play when we will when we'll be, requiring something which is related to hand detection. If you want the camera to detect your hand, then you can use CV zone for that. But we, at present, we do not require that hand detection thing. We just want to access the device's camera so that we can see ourselves in a frame, right? So for that, CVs, I think OpenCV Python, which we have imported right on the top over here, is more than enough. Now we have to tell the interpreter that you can locate this video capture function inside this library named CV2. And how can we tell it? Because video capture is a function which is present inside the library OpenCV Python. Okay, OpenCV Python is CV2 only, right? They are one and the same thing. When we install OpenCV Python, we write pip install OpenCV Python. But if you have to import it, you have to use it in a code, you need to write import CV2. Are you getting my points, Sanjoli? If you are not able to understand, please let me know. I'll brief you again about what I just explained. Am I audible to you, Sanjoli?
Yes, sir. Sir, I was muted by mistake. I have pressed Alt A, but it didn't work.
Okay. So I asked you something. Did you hear? Did you hear that?
Yes, sir.
I was asking you whether you know that this video capture is a part of this CV2 function, CV2 library or not. Do you know that or not?
So yes, it is.
It is a part of CV2. No? So if you have to suppose, tell the interpreter that you can find video capture in this library CV2. So what you can do for that? Well, we can simply put the name of the library like this and we can then put a dot in between. So now with this,
Yes,
we are telling the interpreter that you can search for video capture inside this library, right? So I'm saving the changes and running the code. Let's see what will happen now. Will it give us the same
so
error?
will you share the recording of this meeting?
No, dear, I won't be able to share the recording of this meeting. I'm really sorry for that. Are you not able to understand what I'm telling you right now?
No, sir,
You
I
already
am. In fact, sometimes I have to revise, then for that I was asking.
see everything is there on my YouTube channel to be, if you will search it on my YouTube, definitely you'll be able to find it. But if you want the recording, I'll do something, right? I'll try to share the recording, no problem. Fine. We
Okay,
have,
sir.
Sanjoli, if you remember, we have already covered it many times in the previous lectures. Video capture, CV2, we have done, I think, more than 5 or 6 projects using these two things.
Yes, sir. So we have made almost every app in the previous course, all for
Absolutely,
CVZONE.
absolutely right, dear. Right. So maybe, it's just the practice which you have to do, and you will be able to conquer all these things. Okay, so from now onwards, you're going to practice these things. You'll have to promise me that, right? You have to
Yes, sir.
practice these things, and in case you come across any issues, just take a snapshot of it and send it to me on my WhatsApp wall. Okay, within, if I'm not free at that time, maybe I'll reply after 1 or 2 hours. But definitely I'll give you the feedback. I'll reply to your queries. Okay, Sanjoli.
Okay, sir.
So have you understood this code? See, now we are not getting the error, dear. We're not getting any kind of error.
Yes, sir.
It's time for us to create a frame, right? We are able to access the camera. We are able to set the, we have, we are done with defining the code with which, we have set the frames width and height. Now we can just define a while loop. So here we can tell the interpreter that while everything is fine, while true means while everything is fine, please do these things. I would first like my camera. I would first like the
Start
interpreter.
working.
I would first like the interpreter to capture, to read all the images, whatever will be captured by my device's camera. So if you remember, we use this function called read, right? We use this function called read, and through it we can, the interpreter can read all the pictures which will be captured by the camera. Now, why I have written cap over here? Can you tell me that, dear? Why?
Yes, sir. Because the variable in which the video capture is named as the same as cap.
Absolutely right. That is the reason we have written cap here. Right. Now let me just print the information which is coming from this function. So for that, we can use this print function. That's the
Yes.
way you can research on the functions we use in programs. You can simply use this print function in order to check what all information this function is giving us. So let's see that. I'm pressing the Control V keys. Let's see what all things we'll get in the console panel. Right now, Sanjoli, my camera is on. The light of the camera is on, and you can see here I'm getting this information.
Yes.
Right, I'm getting all these things over here. So we are getting a three-dimensional array. See, it's a three-dimensional array that we are
Yeah.
getting. So what is this? What is this 85, 91, and 84? You know it? Do you know that? What is
So,
this? Yeah.
so it's the dimension of the picture that it's capturing.
It's not the dimension here. It's not a 3D image which the camera is capturing. It's a 2D image. But because it's a colored image, that is the reason we are getting three different values of each pixel. Right? Each pixel has some color, and color can be defined in the RGB. You must have heard about RGB: red, blue, and green. Every color is made up of three colors: red, blue, and green. So this 85, 91, 84 is a value of 1 pixel. A particular image, if you will see, it is made up of 1,000 or more than 1,000 pixels. I hope you know about it.
Yes, sir.
Right. So it is the value of the pixels of the images, right, which the camera is capturing. And besides that, we are also getting a Boolean value. So we are getting a Boolean value. We are getting the pixel values also. So what does it mean? It means that this read function is giving us two types of values. Am I right here?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we need at least two variables so that we can save both the values which this read function is giving us. So what we can do, we can remove this print function, and then we can write here, we can define two variables. Let's say the name of the first variable is success and the name of the second variable is img. So in img, my images pixels will come and get saved, and in success, the Boolean values will come and get saved. Okay, that is how you can find out how many variables you have to define for getting all the values this function is giving. Now, if suppose you do not want to, the Boolean values are of no use for you, and you do not want to save them anywhere. So instead of defining a variable, you can simply put a underscore like this. Okay, if
Okay,
you do
sir.
not want to save the Boolean values anyway, you can simply put an underscore like this. But if you want to, save them in a variable, you need to use a variable like this, success. Okay, now it's time for us to show the images. Can you tell me in which variable are the images coming and getting saved?
So IMG.
Absolutely right, dear. IMG is a variable in which the images are coming. Cap is the variable in which our camera is present.
Camera
Right.
is stored.
So CV2 dot, there is a function called IMShow, okay, which is there inside the library OpenCV. So we can use it for creating a frame. Now we'll have to first define the title of the frames. Let's say images. Yeah, okay. Or let's make it frame images. So that's the way you can, put a title. You can give a title to your frame. And then I would like to, see all the images which my camera has captured. So for that, I can simply pass img as a second parameter to it. Now it's time for us to, tell the cameras to wait for 1 second or 2 seconds. And after that, again, give us the next picture. So CV2 dot wait key, that's the function with which we can tell the camera to wait, or we can tell this IMShow to wait. So I'm going to ask it to wait for 1 millisecond and then show me the next image. Control S, and I need to first cancel the build because my camera is still running. Okay, it is off right now. Let me just save the changes and run the code. Let's see whether we'll be able to get a nice frame or not. So my camera is on. Are you able to see me, dear?
Yes, sir.
Right. So, that's the basics of CV2. Let me share the code with you in the chat box so that you can also try it at your end. Here is the code. Just give it a try and let me know if you're getting the same output, which I just showed you or not.
Yes.
Sanjuli, sorry, I didn't catch that, dear. Can you just come again?
Yes, sir. So I want to ask like uh, from which command it can run, like control and which letter?
Control B.
Okay, sir.
Okay, I'll have to give you the rights to share the screen now. Yeah. Import CV2. Dear, you haven't saved this file yet in that folder you created. Come on, file. Come on, file. Then come on, save as. Click it. Okay, now here you have to give a name to this file. No, just be here. Give a name to this file. Virtual MCQs you can give, or something like that. Virtual game you can. Don't. There should be no space in between virtual and game there. Now, Sanjuli, it's a Python file, so you need to put the extension
Dot
of
py.
.py, right, dear? Then only your computer will be able to understand it. Here I'm getting a call on my number. Just give it a try. I think this time you'll be able to get the output. Oh, I have all the questions inside this MCQ file, and let me just open it here in Sublime Text and show you the questions. So these are the questions I have in this MCQ file. Right, and what I want is I would like to see these questions as well as these options getting reflected on the screen, and then if I select any of the options, it should tell me whether it's a correct option or not. So something like kaun mirega crorepati thing. So this is what we
Okay.
are trying to develop right now. Now let me just pass this MCQ file to you first so that you can also put it in the same folder inside which your code file resides. So I'm passing it to you in the chat box of this meeting. You can simply download it, and then you can put it in the same folder in which your code file is present. Which I can do it from here, I think. Sanjoli, the file is getting It's uploading in the chat box. I think you'll be able to see it very soon. Yeah, it's there in the chat box, dear. You can download it.
Yes, sir, I can see.
Fine, just download it and then you can put it in the same folder in which you're. Okay. Now the next thing is, okay, let me know once you're through with this task so that we can go to the next step.
Python 2. Yes, sir, I have done.
Okay. Now, Sanjoli, we have to call the file here in this code. Okay. Now there is something called file handling in Python. So, if you have to call any file, like it's a CSV file, right? Right in the end, it's written .csv. So it means that it's a CSV file. CSV stands for comma separated values. So you can see here, whatever values we have in the file, they are separated by these commas. Okay, so that is why it's known as comma separated file. Now, what we have to do first, in order to call it in this code, we can first define a variable, let's say path CSV. And here we can, pass the name of the file to it. So the name of the file is mcqs.csv. So mcqs.csv, right? And then we have a function called open. So that is how we can use it with open, and then the name of the file will come. So the name of the file is path CSV, right? And finally, I would like to see it in the same way, the way it is, the data, the way it is there in this file. I would like to see the data in the same way in this console panel also. So, for bringing the data in the next line or for defining, new lines, we can use this parameter called new line. And simply we can pass /n. So it will create a new line. Means it will first print this first line. It will create a new line. In that new line, it will print the second row's data, then third row will come, then fourth row will come, and so on. So this, sorry, here it will not come. It is going to come, it should come here inside OpenCV like this. Right. And I would like to import it as, let's say, F. Right. It's an alias name I have created. So with open, then you need to pass the file's name. And after that, new line and as F. I hope you have understood the code here. Is it fine?
Yes, sir.
Now we can define a variable in which, I would like to put all the things which are there in this path CSV file. So, we have imported the content of this path CSV file as F in this line. So now everything is going to come in this F. Now, how will we read the content? So there is a function called CSV dot reader, right? We have a library called CSV. So we need to import that library first. Otherwise, our interpreter will not be able to understand that where this reader is coming from. So CSV dot reader, and thereafter we can pass the, the variable in which the data is present we want to read. So it's F in which the data is present. Now we can, convert the data in the form of list. So for converting anything into list, you can use what we call it implicit conversion, right? So list, and then whatever is there in F, it will come in reader. So now we have the data in reader, and let's convert it into a list. Okay, so we have successfully converted everything in the list form. Now it's time for us to print the data. So the data is there inside this data named variable. I am writing and putting it over here. Let's see if the changes and run the code and see whether we'll be able to get the output or not. So my camera will definitely run first, right? And after that, whatever data is present in the MCQs file, it will come and, it will get reflected here in this console panel. I'm getting an error here. Why is this error coming? Let's check it. So it's a typo, it's a type error, right? It says new line is an invalid keyword argument for open. So open doesn't accept, open doesn't has anything like new line. How is it possible? Why it is not accepting it? Maybe L of line is in capital. Let's make it small. Maybe after that it may accept it. Okay, let's make it small L. So if I will now run it, let's see whether I will be able to get the required, or you can say desired output or not. Are you able to see this data here, Vita?
Yes, sir.
Visible to you? In which form this data is, getting reflected here in the console panel? Means, is it in the form of tuple or list or dictionary or what?
List.
Absolutely right, because we have these rectangular brackets over here. So it's in the form of list. So you can see the magic of list, which we have implemented here. Let me close this window, and now I'm going to pass this code to you so that you can also try it at your end. Here is the code. You can see the chat box here. Just copy the code and paste it in your Sublime text and check whether you're getting the correct output or not.
So I am getting an error. Name CSV is not defined.
Name CSV is not defined. Just show it to me, dear. Share your screen and show me the error. Names. Beta, you have to import CSV. You have to write import CSV on the top in the second line. It's not able to find the CSV. Maybe that's the reason. Write import CSV. Absolutely fine. Save the changes and now run the code. See, you're getting the output.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Welcome, Peter. Now unshare your screen. Let me just share my screen with you now. Now, Sanjoli, what we have learned today in this class, let me just summarize that to you. So we learned about CV2. We learned about video capture function. We learned about set, how can we set the width and height of the frame in which the video is going to come. And then how can we use open function for handling the data of a file. Okay, that's what we learned. And what is this while true? Fine, that's what we learned. How can we research on a function? How can we find out what all types of values a function is giving us? That's what we learned. So whatever we have covered in this lecture, I would like you to just research on it. How to do the research? So what you can do, you can try to change the value of width. Let's say you want a frame of a smaller width. So just change it to 720 and you can see what kind of output you're getting. You can try to play with the height of the window, right? You can create another CSV file and then you can try to use this function open for checking whether you are able to read the content present in that CSV file or not. You can further find out some more functions relevant to file handling. You know, there are functions like write, there are functions like append with which you can do file handling. So you can search for it
But
on
like
Google.
there is this height of this video capture. So